Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unwoke Thoughts. Big show today. Big show. Lots of stuff happening. Massive show, guys. Huge. Huge. I feel like in the past week, we've had about an entire year's worth of news. Just in the past, like 7-8 days. An entire year of news, guys. It's wild. Donald Trump's attempted assassination, RNC, J.D. Vance selected as Donald Trump's vice president. And now, guys, Joe Biden, what? Nobody saw this coming, right? Nobody. You didn't see this coming. I didn't see this coming. We thought everybody was riding with Biden. We thought the Democrats were putting him up there. They were just going to attach strings to his arms and legs like the puppet he is. But no. And a surprise to nobody at all, actually, except for maybe the president of the United States himself. Yes, Joe Biden dropped out of the race yesterday and endorsed his vice president, Kamala Harris, as the Democrat nominee. Wow. Also, I don't know if you guys know this, just a little trivia. Guess what national holiday was yesterday? Take a guess. It's almost so ironic, you would swear it was planned. You would swear this was planned. But this is good news for Donald Trump for a couple of reasons. First, it looks like he's off the hook from being Joe Biden's running mate. As many of you may remember, this was announced by Joe himself at the NATO summit. So it is a relief that Trump can now focus all of his energy on his own campaign, because the logistics of running for president while simultaneously being the running mate of your opponent would be pretty complex. I'm not really sure how that would even work. So, yeah. But secondly, if there is one person people dislike and take less seriously than old Sleepy Joe, it's cackling Kamala Harris, who apparently fell out of a coconut tree and bopped her head when she was a kid. That's the story, at least. I mean, where else could that story have come from? But is Joe Biden actually aware that he dropped out of the race? Some people are asking this. Many people are raising concerns over the odd nature of the letter. There are many things that just don't smell right. It's just kind of weird. Like over and over, things like this happen and things just don't look right. They don't smell right. Something just seems off. What is going on with the Democrat Party? Can't quite put a finger on it. First of all, what's wrong with his signature? What's wrong with it? There's something odd about it. Who actually wrote the letter? And why does it not appear under statements and releases from the White House? You would think in the website, that letter would appear under statements and releases. And also, where is the official presidential seal? Where is that? So we're going to look at all of that and see what we can figure out. Trump, of course, posted on True Social multiple times in response to Joe Biden dropping out of the race. And he says that Joe probably woke up this morning and forgot. Good point. Vivek Ramaswamy stands his ground and says it will definitely not be Kamala Harris who is the nominee. And I tend to agree. I don't think so either. Because the Democrats know she's a liability for about 1,000,001 reasons. But he does say the nominee will be someone else. I'll give you a hint. She's female and she's black. And no, it's not Rachel Dolezal. And if you got that reference, you spend way too much time on the internet. RFK Jr. goes on a tirade and calls Kamala Harris a war hawk. And also, he made some very interesting comments about Trump's vice presidential nominee candidate, J.D. Vance. Some odd comments. So we'll take a look at that as well. And finally, Kamala Harris, of course, accepts Joe Biden's endorsement that he probably doesn't know he made. And we might be witnessing the rise of a massive new star on TikTok and Instagram who probably does the best Kamala Harris impersonation I have ever seen. So we'll look at that. But ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the show, if you could please do me a massive favor, it helps me out a lot. You could hit that like button Helps out the algorithm, gets me seen in more feeds. So that's good for me, and I would really appreciate it. Today, we've got kind of a double feature because as soon as I get off of this live stream, it should live redirect everyone to my other live stream I'm doing of Kimberly Cheadle's testimony before Congress. So that should be very interesting. Kimberly Cheadle is the director of the Secret Service. There are rumors that she might be dropping out, or that she not dropping out. She might be stepping down as the director. So we'll see about that. But she is supposed to be testifying at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I got a hard cutoff time at like 8:55. So I got to get through all this stuff, guys. But let's get into it. Of course, everyone probably saw this already. Joe Biden posted this yesterday. Well, whoever runs Joe Biden's account posted this yesterday. I'll just read the first paragraph here. Over the past 3.5 years, we had made great progress. I can't even talk today, guys. Maybe I shouldn't read so fast. We have made great progress. There we go. I got it out. It's early. We're all good. We're all good. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments. Let me get to where he talks about dropping out. It has been the great honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. So Joe Biden drops out. This is not where he endorses Kamala Harris, though. Right here, Joe Biden, in a separate tweet by one of his campaign staff, no doubt, endorses Kamala Harris with this tweet. He says, "My fellow Democrats, I have decided not to accept the nomination and to focus all my energies on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. My first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president, and it's been the best decision I've made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement to Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this. Let's go." So Joe Biden, putting all of his weight behind Kamala Harris. I don't know if he knows that he did this. I highly doubt it. There's about 1,010,000 reasons why Kamala Harris is a terrible pick for the Democrats. But there is definitely a faction in the Democrat Party who is trying to make that happen. So there's some powerful people as well. Something very interesting about yesterday, July the 21st, 2024. It is National Ice Cream Day. Yes, right here, guys. If you Google National Ice Cream Day, there you go. July 21st, 2024. And that is the day that Joe Biden dropped out of the race. Historic day, very serendipitous, very ironic, because Joe Biden is well known for his love of ice cream. Yes, I believe he likes double chocolate chip ice cream or something like that. That's like his favorite. But it's really odd, the timing. I mean, nobody guessed that this was going to happen because just 2 weeks ago, of course, Joe Biden was saying that he was definitely not dropping out as president of the United States of America. This is just a couple weeks ago. Joe Biden, from his Twitter account himself, or whoever runs his Twitter account, he said this. Let me say this clearly as I can. I am the sitting president of the United States. I'm the nominee of the Democratic Party. I'm staying in the race. Wow. Wow. These politicians, if they say something, guys, you can definitely take their word for it. This is definitely not one of the reasons why people just have all-time low trust for politicians. they don't care. They don't care what you think at all. They don't care about being consistent, the truth. They view this as all a game. It's a chess match. They only release certain information when they believe it is politically expedient, and they will lie to your face until the point where they believe it would benefit them to actually reveal the truth of what's actually happening. It's absolutely incredible, guys. But this is a little bit of context of the whole thing. Biden drops out on day 4 of his isolating at his home in Delaware. Many of you guys know that Joe Biden supposedly has COVID right now. This is a little snippet. Delaware, Biden's decision to drop out came on the fourth day of sequestration at his shore home in Delaware, where he is isolating while recovering from COVID. Weird. Where's Joe Biden, I wonder? Where is the guy? What is he doing? Day 4 of isolation. All of a sudden he releases this statement from definitely Joe Biden, from definitely the Twitter account that Joe Biden himself runs. What's going on here? The president was initially joined by just a small group of aides, and he has spent the entire period out of public view. The White House, in the meantime, provided a little detail on Biden's activities, alluding only to a handful of briefings with senior aides and a congratulatory call to European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. But Biden was joined this weekend by Steve Ricchetti, one of his closest aides, and we'll get a little bit more into Steve Ricchetti, who people familiar with the matter said traveled to Delaware to review the latest polling and pushback from Democrats, calling for Biden to step aside. And just 2 hours before the president said he would abandon his bid, his campaign was hit with more grim news. A new poll put Biden down 7 percentage points in Michigan. This is following, of course, Donald Trump's campaign rally in Michigan in Grand Rapids. So that was a good rally for Donald Trump, it looks like. More than double the deficit he faced in the must-win state heading into last month's ruinous debate. So that's what's going on with Joe Biden right now. He is in sequestration. He is hunkered down, if you will, in a bunker in Delaware. No one has seen him yet. You know, day 4, isolation, all of a sudden, drops a bomb on the entire world, which we all knew. I think we all saw it coming, guys. I think, was it Friday, Saturday? I think it was Saturday, actually. I said that this was coming. I said, looks like Biden is dropping out of the race. I've been saying this for I've probably said this like multiple times, probably like 10, 12 times. But on Saturday, I said that these calls for him to drop out of the race, or these rumors, that's the word, these rumors of Joe Biden dropping out of the race seemed a little bit more legitimate this time. And I said it looked like it's going to come in the next, few days, couple days, maybe even this weekend. And sure enough, Saturday, I was sitting at a restaurant and I saw it come across my Twitter feed. I was like, no way. No way. It actually happened. It actually happened today. But some other wild news, guys. The Biden, let me bring this full screen. Biden HQ Twitter account. Yes, this is the Biden HQ Twitter account. I used to follow them. They tweeted a lot of disinformation about Donald Trump, some of the worst, like outright lies and very deceitful edits of his rallies and speeches and things that he would say. This was one of the worst accounts, right? Biden HQ, because they would literally very strategically cut things that Donald Trump says in very specific ways, very specific timestamps, and they would deceptively edit things to the point where it was just so ridiculous. It was crazy. But it was, of course, a weaponized Twitter account for the Biden administration. Well, they have been disbanded. Yesterday, they were disbanded, and they reemerged as Kamala HQ. Yes, Kamala HQ, already with, it's probably more than this now. It's probably over 1 million followers now. But this is the new weaponized Twitter account against Donald Trump. Interesting branding, right? Interesting branding. The official weaponized Twitter account for Kamala Harris. Some good news for you guys. This is actually good news, I believe. You guys might not see this as good news, but I believe this is good news, and I'll explain why. Alex Soros. Yes, Alex Soros. You see him right there with Kamala Harris. He has endorsed Kamala Harris. This is good news. This is good news. Why, you might ask? Why is this good news, Andrew? Well, I think that the positive thing we can take from this, because remember, Alex Soros is the son of George Soros, right? George Soros, I mean, as evil as the guy was probably pretty intelligent, right? Pretty intelligent guy, evil, but intelligent, right? What is it? Currency speculator. I mean, the guy kind of knew some stuff, and he just chose a dark path. Well, it looks like Alex Soros, the positive thing we can take from this is by endorsing Kamala Harris, we can kind of confirm that George Soros' son, Alex, is a moron. Yes, that's right. This is what Alex said in his tweet about Kamala Harris. It's time for us all to unite around Kamala Harris and beat Donald Trump. She is the best and most qualified candidate we have. Long live the American dream. Wow. Okay. All right. So, yeah, that's, fantastic news, guys. I'm actually pretty excited about Kamala Harris potentially being the pick. I think it's still a little bit dubious, too soon to really tell if she is actually the pick, but I hope she is because there's just multiple reasons. Probably the biggest reason is that the content coming out about Kamala Harris from all the opposition research would be just complete gold. So absolutely funny. But yeah, good news. Doesn't look like Alex Soros is too smart. Also, a little bit more kind of following just the peripherals of the Democrat Party, the Biden Harris situation. Some people that we have known about for a while, have been following for a while. One of these people in the circle, in the way outer circle of the Biden Harris campaign, now probably the Harris campaign, is Harry Sisson. What is he doing? Looks like the Democrats have removed the Joe Biden computer chip from Harry Sisson's brain and have installed the Kamala Harris computer chip. Look at this. Look at these. This is a actual real tweet. There are two tweets juxtaposed back then and now. This is the same guy who is a paid propagandist, Harry Sisson, for the Biden-Harris campaign. Now, of course, the Harris someone else campaign, I guess. This was back in, last month. He says, my name is Harry Sisson. I'm 20 years old, and I will be proudly voting for President Joe Biden in 2024. Who's with me? Yes. And now, look at what he says now. This guy, just remember, guys, this guy is a paid propagandist for the Biden-Harris campaign. Formerly the Biden-Harris campaign. Now he's saying, my name is Harry Sisson. I'm 21 years old, and I'm fully supporting Vice President Kamala Harris in 2024. Who's with me? Yes, these are real tweets. I checked them out myself. Joe Biden's brother had a little statement on CBS that was read on CBS. He says he hopes to enjoy whatever time we have left with his brother, Joe Biden. So that kind of begs the question, is Joe Biden more ill than we all thought? Listen to this.
CBS News had a brief conversation with Frank Biden, one of President Biden's two younger brothers, and here's what he told us. He said, I'm incredibly proud of my brother. Selfishly, I will have him back to enjoy whatever time we have left. He is a genuine hero. Country over self. It sounds corny in our cynical political environment, but he nor I are cynical. The goal remains the same: defeat Trump and continue the work that Joe has done. My hope is that our party rallies around this heroic act. We asked him whether he feels that his brother's overall health and vitality played a major role in this decision, and he says, in my humble opinion, absolutely. So a member of the president's family now confirming that the president's health was indeed a major factor in this decision and calling his brother a hero for making the decision to pass the torch to Kamala Harris.
So, Nancy, sorry, can you clarify that the family is saying his health was or was not a factor?
He's saying that in his humble opinion, yes, the president's health and vitality played a considerable role in his decision. It's important to note Frank Biden is not speaking for the family writ large. This was simply a conversation between CBS News and Frank Biden. Unclear how much input he had in this decision, but he says.
So it's very interesting, the choice of words. Whatever time we have left, are they priming everybody? Is Joe Biden all of a sudden going to disappear? Because no one's seen Joe Biden. We just saw this statement from Biden, apparently from Biden, just come out on his Twitter account and then that other tweet. And now Joe Biden's brother is saying, we want to enjoy whatever time we have left. COVID, apparently Biden contracted. COVID has been known to be pretty fatal to some elderly individuals. So what is actually happening here? Are they planning the ultimate coup? All of this smells really weird. It's just so coincidental. All these things are so coincidental. The assassination against Trump failed, of course. RNC happens. It failed a week before the RNC. RNC happens. And now, a week after the failed assassination, Joe Biden drops out. No one sees of him. No one hears of him. Other than these posts that are supposed to be Joe Biden on Twitter. Like, does Joe Biden, can Joe Biden even tweet? Does he even know what tweeting is? I don't know. It just seems very suspicious to me, guys. I don't believe in coincidences, especially in politics. I know multiple people who have been in politics who have told me the same thing, and I take their word for it. But there's a lot of weird things with this statement that was released by Joe Biden, a lot of odd things. And one of these things is, of course, the signature. What's wrong with the signature? This was posted by Owen Schwarrier. He said, at first, I didn't think much of this, but upon further review, holy shoot. Holy S. I try not to cuss on the show. This was a legit coup today. It's not his signature. This is a blatant criminal forgery and a coup. Why no word from Biden himself? So let's look at this. This is kind of a comparison of Joe Biden's signature over the recent months. So this is the one in the red box up here is Joe Biden's signature that was on the statement. And now you have Joe Biden's signature from July 17, 2024, June 14, 2024, April 12, 2024, March 27, 2024, March 18, 2024. What's different about this signature up here compared to these 5 down there? Well, he doesn't put a line. First of all, he doesn't put a line underneath Biden. Second of all these other signatures have Jr. J.R. Biden Jr., that top one, apparently, that was on this letter. There's no Jr. Very odd, and we got a little bit of a better view of this. Let me show you. This might be a little bit easier to see. Here's some more comparisons from some more signatures. This one up top, of course, is the one that was on the statement, J.R. Biden. And then these are the other ones. There's no line. On these bottom ones, it doesn't look like there's any junior like the last picture we saw, but these are just some other ones. They look similar, but it looks like maybe this was just a digital signature that was just probably dragged onto a PDF and sent out onto Twitter. But who sent this out? Who sent this out on Twitter? A guy named Steve Ricchetti wrote Biden's withdrawal letter. And like we said, it's still a little bit unclear if Joe Biden is aware that he dropped out of the race. But this is the man himself that wrote this withdrawal letter. This is the one then, that previous article This is the individual who apparently is with Joe Biden in Delaware as he hunkers down with COVID. Steve Ricchetti. Just ran into Steve Ricchetti tonight as he was getting out of an elevator. I asked, "Are you okay? Is he okay?" Referring to Biden. "He's okay," Ricchetti said, with a slight nod and a tight smile, and kept walking. Ricchetti helped Biden write his withdrawal letter in the overnight hours, according to the New York Times. Biden did not notify his vice president, his campaign manager, or chief of staff until this morning. And the rest of his staff didn't find out until a minute before he posted the letter to social media. So he didn't even give anybody a heads up. He didn't even give anybody a heads up. It's very odd. What's going on? What, a minute before? Hey, we're about to drop a bomb on the entire United States, just by the way. Just FYI. In 60 seconds. You got 60 seconds to prepare. What? If he ever even told him. If he even is aware. It's kind of dubious, right? Also, something else a little bit strange about this letter. It does not appear under statements and releases on whitehouse.gov. Huh. Weird. I wonder why. So if you go to whitehouse.gov, usually any official statements or letters or anything like that from the White House or the president appear on the whitehouse.gov. And where is this letter? Nowhere. This is the look. We got a letter from Dr. Kevin O'Connor about him having COVID. That's the last thing, but you don't have anything about Joe Biden dropping out. So what gives? There's a lot of fishy things here. This guy kind of summed it up nicely on Twitter. Kyle Becker, this is what he said. Very good summation of kind of the odd events and situations with this resignation. He said, "Let's recap this historic day. Joe Biden suddenly resigns via X. White House staff find out 1 minute later. Joe Biden's resignation letter does not an official letterhead. There's no official letterhead on the resignation letter. I mean, you guys saw it. I'll show it to you back here in a second again. It's just basically a typed up letter with his signature on it. No letterhead whatsoever. Biden's signature, a little bit odd because it has an underline, and he's never signed any other letter or anything with a underline that we know of. We compared several signatures over the recent months and past years. Steve Ricchetti helped write the letter. Jill Biden tweets heart emoji response. I didn't bring that up, but yeah, Jill Biden retweeted the letter with a heart emoji. It was like the 2 heart emoji. It wasn't the red heart. It was like the pink heart emoji with like there's 2 hearts. Yeah. That's all she responded. White House wipes Biden's schedule. White House chief of staff calls cabinet, manages the comms. So they're managing communications. Frank Biden confirms health is a factor. And you guys heard what he said. He said they want to enjoy any time they have left with Joe Biden. So what? What does that mean? That sounds a little bit weird. It sounds ominous to me. Family suggests Biden may have terminal illness. With that statement, I believe that's what he's referring to. Joe Biden holds no live press conference. Where is Joe? I think that's what we're all asking. Where is Joe? Where is he at? There's no way this is a coincidence. All of a sudden, Joe Biden falls ill, disappears just a couple months before the election. Yeah, come on, Democrats. You guys, the funny thing about Democrats are they think everybody is stupid. And you know what? There's an argument to be made. A lot on the left, maybe. I'm sorry, I might not be able to, make any excuses for these people because there's a lot of people that's going to look at this and, oh wow, that's crazy. Like, I can't believe this all happened just like this. It's just like, guys, no, I mean, yeah, you can't believe it all happened just like this because it didn't. Because this is planned. This is not something that just all of a sudden happened. 3 months before the election? Oh no. Joe Biden, he got sick and, he did a bad debate and, oh no, his polls are way, way down and, oh, he got COVID. And then he just decided to drop out after months and months just 2 weeks ago saying there's no way he's not dropping out. He's definitely running. Just decides to drop out. No one hears from him except for his Twitter, which probably wasn't him. It was a Steve Ricchetti guy. Listen, it's weird. And if you think that this is all a coincidence, I have a bridge to sell you, but let's look a little bit more at this this tweet, because he provides some screenshots. Of course, this is the statement from Biden. No official letterhead whatsoever. Weird signature. This is a tweet. The White House chief of staff called cabinet officials to tell them, not Biden. So it looks like Biden's post to X blindsided much of the rest of the staff at both the White House and the campaign, who had gotten no indication that he was reconsidering his run. Since then, Zients has managed much of the communication across an anxious administration, holding calls Sunday afternoon with both the cabinet and senior White House staffers. Zients is scheduled to hold an all-staff White House call on Monday morning. So no one knew. Now they're managing communications, managing comms very carefully. And then, of course, we saw this tweet. This is Steve Ricchetti, the Biden, the man who helped Biden write his withdrawal letter, who is apparently very close to Joe Biden, with him in Delaware as Biden suffers from COVID. But we have some reactions from Trump and the Republican Party. One of them is from Stephen Miller. He's very upset, and I think rightly so, because the Republican Party, the RNC, has spent millions upon millions of dollars in this race already against Joe Biden. And even though that they're saying this is Joe Biden, this is himself that is dropping out of the race, we all know it's not. It's not Joe Biden. He's been pressured. This is a coup, if you will. But Steve Miller says this is a fraud on the Republican Party. We've spent millions of dollars against Joe Biden, who was supposed to be in the race. He won all the primaries, democratically elected in the primaries, right? I mean, these are people that are always talking about democracy. Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy. Always talking about this, but all of a sudden, democratically elected presidential nominee or Democrat nominee for the president of the United States, they pressure him out. Where's their adherence to this democracy thing that you guys talk about all the time? But listen to Stephen Miller talk about this when he says this is a fraud on the Republican Party itself.
They held a primary. People, they had ballots. They filled out circles. They went to the voting booths. They spent money on advertisements. And as President Trump said, the Republican Party spent tens of millions of dollars running against Joe Biden. Now they just woke up one morning and said, never mind, we're canceling the entire primary. We're getting rid of our candidate, and we're pretending the election has never even happened, and we're going to let donors handpick a new nominee. They held a primary.
So it's a good point. And of course, the response from the Democrats on this one is like, well, Joe Biden, he dropped out of his own volition. He dropped out of the race. He got sick and he's not up for it. He dropped out. Yeah, right. Like, once again, man, these people. Listen, all politicians are liars, but the Democrats are especially egregious. I'm sorry. Like, it's so in your face. It's so obvious. And it's just so disgusting, guys. This stuff disgusts me. And it's ripping the country apart. It really is. Like, we already have whiplash from all the stuff that has been happening over the past couple of years. Donald Trump and his court cases, the assassination attempt. I mean, and then all of a sudden Joe Biden drops something and we're going to say, oh, yeah, well, he got sick. He dropped out. It just happens to be 3 months before the election. We didn't have anything to do with it. Obama had nothing to do with it. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. They're so full of BS. It's crazy. Donald Trump, of course, he had some choice words for what happened here. He reacted. This is what he said after finding out about the news. He said, crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president and is certainly not fit to serve and never was. He only attained the position of president by lies, fake news, and not leaving his basement. Facts. All those around him, including his doctor and the media, knew that he wasn't capable of being president, and he wasn't. And now look at what he's done to our country with millions of people coming across our border, totally unchecked and unvetted, many from prisons, mental institutions, and record number of terrorists. We will suffer greatly because of his presidency, and we will remedy the damage he has done very quickly. Make America great again. But this is not all that he said. He kind of echoed the sentiment of Stephen Miller. I'm sure they've talked about this, where he says that the Republican Party should be reimbursed for fraud after spending money fighting Joe Biden, who they swore up and down, and Biden himself just 2 weeks ago swore up and down, regardless of the rumors, that he was in fact running for president and would be the Democratic nominee. This is what Donald Trump said. Another post on Truth. He said, so we are forced to spend time and money on fighting crooked Joe Biden. He polls badly after having a terrible debate and quits the race. Now we have to start all over again. Shouldn't the Republican Party be reimbursed for fraud in that everyone around Joe, including his doctors and the fake news media, knew he was not capable of running for or being president? Just asking questions, but I think that's a good question, Mr. President. More from Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he had a lot to say about this. Very funny. Another truth that he posted. He posted this last night. He said, it's not over. Tomorrow, crooked Joe Biden's going to wake up and forget that he dropped out of the race today. So that's definitely a possibility. Or maybe it's a possibility that he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know that he dropped out in the first place. I think that's a bigger possibility. But the newest from Donald Trump, yes, guys, I have all of the newest from Donald Trump here. He posted this as well, and this was posted this morning. He said, it's a new day, and Joe Biden doesn't remember quitting the race yesterday. He is demanding his campaign schedule and arranging talks with President Xi of China and Putin of Russia concerning the possible start of World War III. Biden is sharp, decisive, energetic, and ready to go. So we'll see if that's actually the case. This is a new one from Donald Trump as well. This is not on Joe Biden. This is just Trump and Vance themselves. We'll watch this little clip. Trump does his first interview since surviving the assassination attempt. And he says that some things going on in our government, there are some things going on in our government that we have to worry about. Take a look. He's with J.D. Vance doing an interview with Jesse Waters. Listen. Oh, let me unmute it for you guys real quick. All right, there we go.
The FBI is doing an investigation on the assassination attempt. Do you trust the Bureau?
I don't trust the Bureau leadership, but I certainly think there are a lot of good field agents, guys on the ground. But what the hell was going on? How was that guy ever allowed to be there in the first place? Because I think somebody, whether it's higher up or somebody else involved, really did screw up.
There's some things going on with our government that we have to really worry about. Did we have enough people? Why didn't we have enough people? Somebody said that a lot of people were put on Biden's detail. The problem is Biden doesn't draw anybody. He draws flies.
The FBI.
That's a good point. Why are so many people being put on Biden's detail and hardly anybody on Trump's detail? And that's something that we're probably going to find out. Hopefully, I don't know, these testimonies, because right after this stream, I am streaming Kimberly Cheadle's testimony in Congress, 9 a.m. coming up here in 22 minutes, it looks like. Hopefully these are some of the questions that will be answered. That should be a very interesting testimony before the House of Representatives. Why this was allowed to happen. I don't think it was, if you ask me, I don't think it was a coincidence. I don't think it was just a failure. I think there's a lot more going on. But Vivek Ramaswamy, he has responded to Joe Biden, apparently, reportedly, we don't know yet, dropping out of the race. And he's once again says he believes it will be Michelle Obama who takes his place. Listen.
Now, let's talk about the fact that they're not supporting Kamala Harris, the very same people that I would argue pushed Biden out. You know, it says a lot to me that, you know, you have the Obamas. We know that Barack gave the wink and the nod to George Clooney to write that New York Times op-ed. We know he's been working hard behind the scenes. We know that he gave the okay to Schumer and Pelosi to do the things that they've been doing. And then all of those same voices are silent tonight. Now, the Congressional Black Caucus, very prominent voices within the Democratic Party, James Clyburn, others, they're supporting Kamala Harris. But they're the same group of people that didn't win out in this battle for Joe Biden to stay in. So who's going to win the next battle?
So, look, I say this as somebody who a year ago predicted Joe was not going to be the nominee. I'm going to predict that Kamala Harris is not going to be the nominee either. And the reason is if they get one shot, they're going to take their absolute best shot that they can.
Who is it?
That's clearly not Kamala Harris.
That?
Well, look, I think there's a lot of open possibilities. I would not write off the possibility that it ends up being Michelle Obama. She checks off the same identity politic boxes.
So, yeah, he makes a good point. If they replace Kamala Harris with a white man, that looks really bad. Makes the Democrats look like hypocrites. If they even replace her with a white woman, looks bad because the woman is white. You know, they're very, very touchy about that type of thing. The identity politics thing. It's got to be, a woman of color, right? If they replace her with Hillary Clinton, say, they might face some blowback for being the total hypocrites they are. So the only person who really checks those boxes, like Vivek Ramaswamy says, is Michelle Obama. But then you got to kind of weigh in your mind, Kamala Harris, there's no way. Like, I think she's so unlikable that it almost would be better for them to suffer the blowback, for them to run someone like maybe Hillary Clinton or maybe Gretchen Whitmer than to run Kamala Harris versus, even if Michelle Obama wasn't, because she has come out multiple times and said that she was not running for president. She was not going to run for president. And I mean, you got to think about these people as well. Like, running for president is a very energy extensive task. I mean, does Michelle even want to run for president? There are some people that they just aren't up for the task. They don't have the energy. They don't want to do it. It blows your entire life apart. So we'll see what happens with that. But another thing from Vivek Ramaswamy, trying to move on quick, guys, because we got a hard deadline here in a little bit. Vivek Ramaswamy goes on TikTok and says that Kamala Harris will not be the nominee. It's just another one. See what he has to say.
To say I told you so, but I did. It's now official that Joe Biden will not be the Democrat nominee for U.S. president. Best way to make predictions is just follow the incentives. He wasn't their best shot to win, and they knew it. But they intentionally waited until after the Republican convention, so they had full information on the vice president and to let the Republicans celebrate, when in fact they now want to give themselves their best shot. Everyone is saying it's now going to be Kamala Harris. Something tells me that isn't going to be the case this time. Take it from the guy who predicted this a year ago at the Republican debates when they called me a conspiracy theorist. This race hasn't even really started yet.
Good point. And yes, Vivek Ramaswamy did say that multiple times. He did say multiple times that it was not going to be Joe Biden who was the Democrat nominee. Probably like 6 or 7 times. And he said it the most publicly. I think we all kind of knew it, but he said it the most publicly. And while I do really hope it is Kamala Harris, I really do, because the content coming out about Kamala and the stuff that I can make personally about Kamala, the jokes I can make about Kamala would just be absolutely golden and amazing. I don't think we're going to get a Kamala Harris ticket, but I hope so. This one's pretty crazy. RFK Jr. claims that J.D. Vance is CIA.
And his pick as vice president is a salute to the CIA and to the intelligence community and to the military-industrial complex. Their gravy train is going to continue.
So that's very interesting. And it could be true, because I know J.D. Vance is connected to Peter Thiel, and the Peter Thiel is connected to the intelligence agencies. So I guess it remains to be seen how much influence J.D. Vance has on Trump's administration. I hope not much. I've never been a big fan of J.D. Vance. I didn't really know much about him. I just knew he was connected to Peter Thiel, and I'm definitely not a fan of Peter Thiel. So I don't know. That could be true. It might not be true. RFK. Yes, RFK. No, RFK. RFK Jr. Makes a comment about Kamala Harris, calls her a war hawk. And this is what RFK had to say.
I think, Kamala Harris is the party of war. She is, she's a war hawk. The Democratic Party was always the peace party. Kamala Harris is a war hawk on Ukraine. She's a war hawk on China. I think that we should be figuring out ways to coexist with the rest of the world as best we can. Of course, we need to protect our national security. I think she's not going to do anything about the national deficit. I've never heard her speak about the chronic disease epidemic, I think she's a product of the corporate control of our democracy. And she's one of the authors of, in terms of civil rights, she has one of the worst civil rights record of any public official. She's the author of one of the primary authors of the school to prison pipeline. She kept 5,000 people, despite a Supreme Court order that she released 5,000 prisoners of nonviolent drug crimes who were illegally in California jails. She kept them in there saying that we needed them for firefighting and for other public work services. And that's just a modern version of indentured service.
So, yes, he absolutely goes off on Kamala Harris. And yeah, Kamala Harris is like the worst of the worst. She might have this cackle and seem silly and wild. Kamala Harris reminds me a lot of Fani Willis. Fani Willis remember, she just seemed like, how the heck did this person get in the position she's in? And we laugh at her antics and how wacko she seems. And, Kamala Harris, her cackle and what has been, or what can be unburdened by what has been, all her weird circular statements and things that she says and odd phrases and coconut trees or whatever. We laugh at all that, but these people, guys, they have so much power and they're pure evil. It's like she looks silly, she laughs, she cackles, we laugh at her, but these people are pure evil. They're in positions of power and they just do pure evil. Just like Fani Willis, it's just amazing to see how much power these people actually have. And when you kind of inspect what they've done in the past, it's pretty evil stuff. RFK Jr. also made a statement about Joe Biden dropping out of the race real quick.
Presidential candidate RFK Jr. joins us now. So, RFK, you ran the right way. You did what you were supposed to do. You were a Democrat. You primaried a Democrat incumbent, and they wouldn't let you. How did they jam you out of this thing? Because now look at what happened.
Yeah, I think it was a strategic mistake by the Democrats, Jesse, and you and I have talked about this before. But they got rid of, they changed the primary rules while we were running the primary. They changed 60 different rules to make it impossible for anybody to challenge Joe Biden. One of the things that you remember that they did to me is I'd been campaigning in New Hampshire, so they adopted a rule that said that any political candidate, any Democratic candidate who campaigns in New Hampshire, who steps foot into the state of New Hampshire, that all of their votes would go to the president, all of their delegates would go to the president, instead of going to that. And then they shut down the Florida primary. They shut down a bunch of primaries, just said, we're not running them. We already have our candidate. A few weeks ago, President Biden was ridiculing Vladimir Putin, who won 88% of the vote in Russia. And he said, that was a fixed election, because President Putin had made sure no adversaries could challenge him, and also that he had fixed the press so the press wouldn't cover his adversaries. Well, the Democratic Party succeeded in doing the same thing. I haven't been allowed on any of the Democratic networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, as you know, Fox has allowed me on, although Fox, people like you have allowed me to speak. You debate me. You give me a platform, even though you don't agree with things that I say. And I think that's the way. So
RFK Jr., he's like, wait a second. These are the tactics that Russia uses. It's very interesting that the Democrat Party right now, they're so against Russia, but they really enjoy using tactics like Russia. They accuse the Republican Party of using these tactics or being these things that they themselves embody, and they themselves use these tactics. It's very interesting. What a phenomenon. But Kamala Harris, she has released a statement following Joe Biden dropping out of the race, and this is what Kamala Harris had to say. On behalf of the American people, I thank Joe Biden for his extraordinary leadership as president of the United States and for his decades of service to our country. His remarkable legacy of accomplishment is unmatched in modern American history, surpassing the legacy of many presidents who have served 2 terms in office. And this is what she says about his endorsement. I am honored to have the president's endorsement, and my intention is to earn and win this nomination. Over the past year, I have traveled across the country talking with Americans about the clear choice in this momentous election, and that is what I will continue to do in the days and weeks ahead. I will do everything in my power to unite the Democrat Party and defeat Donald Trump. So that was Kamala Harris, is what she had to say. Very excited. I'm sure she's very excited to accept this nomination. Old Kamala Harris there. But probably, I love this. This lady is incredible, guys, right here. I'll show you here in a second. Probably the best Kamala Harris impersonator. She goes by Mama RN88. Or not Mama, sorry. Mommy RN88. Weird name. But she is probably the best Kamala Harris impersonator I have ever seen. You guys need to check her out. She's about to get a lot more famous if Kamala Harris is, in fact, the Democrat nominee. She's so good. She looks like she's an Indian lady, just like Kamala Harris is. Remember, Kamala Harris is not black. She's, in fact, Indian. But she goes by Mommy RN88 on TikTok and Instagram. Listen to her. She's so good, guys. I went down a rabbit hole the other day just watching a lot of her. I think it was on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok. It was on Instagram, I believe it was. They're so good. Watch.
Hello, America. You don't have to clap.
But he's clapping.
Okay. With the exploration of space having been defined in the 21st century, we know then what we know now, and what we know now is absolutely nothing. We also know, living in this century, we know that the definitions from the last centuries of where we stand and where we go have to be the same definition of opportunity. Yeah, opportunity. Well, it was defined in the 20th century, very good definition, Webster's Dictionary. Yeah, we had some good memories. Past becomes future, and future becomes present. And when you really think about that, when you really think about it, it makes sense when you actually rearrange the words.
She's so good. She is so good. But ladies and gentlemen, it's getting close to 9 o'clock. We are about to head over to the Kimberly Cheadle's testimony with Congress. But before we do that, guys, let's take a look at the chat. What are you guys up to? 1 second. What do we got going on? How are you guys doing this morning? Big show today. Yes, big show. Let me see here. All right, who do we got in the chat? What's going on, guys? We're gonna read a couple chats. I'm gonna start the other show here in a little bit. Valerie is in the chat. Hey, Valerie. Corporal Oreo says the cackle needs to be just a little more obnoxious. Yeah, you got to watch some more of her videos. She's pretty dead on sometimes. We got Michelle C in the chat. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Valerie. Michelle C. Yes. Thank you for modding. A fantastic mod. Helps me out a lot. Rebecca Hoover says Harris makes me sick. Yeah, I think she makes all of us sick. But what a show, right? Harris, if she were to be Democrat nominee, absolutely incredible. Kitty Cat says a big word up for Mommy RN88. Yeah, that is her handle on Instagram and TikTok, I guess. So if you guys want to follow her, that's the one. She's the best Kamala Harris impersonator I've ever seen. Let's see. Oh, wow. Dr. Insomnia just exploded the chat with emojis. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hop off of here because I got 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, or a little bit over 5 minutes to go until this testimony is supposed to start with Kimberly Cheadle, the director of the Secret Service. When I end this, it should redirect you guys over to that stream if I set it up correctly. This is the first time I've done this, so hopefully it does that. But ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't yet, please smash that like button. If you enjoyed the show, if you learned something, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, consider becoming a member. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me this morning. But here in a little bit, guys, I will see you once again. But I hope everyone has a fantastic day. God bless.